Welcome to Hemp Sisters Nation, where you don't need a reservation. I said, Mama, hello, stand with open arms. Here to warn you with a one more time. Yeah, one more time, baby. Welcome to the nation. I said, welcome.
Good evening and welcome to a very special
to the birthday of Mama Epps edition Hemp
Hempy
Sisters
birthday. Welcome to the Hempy Hour.
Yes.
Salud.
Smell that.
'Tis my favorite summer drink, the lemon drop martini.
Lemon drop martinis.
Made by my very favorite bartender, my Lolo.
MacGyver.
She knows my taste, and it's delicious.
I hate working on our birthdays, but my God.
If we're going to work on our birthday.
We're working on our birthday. We've brought a whole collection of
this is the way to do it.
Celebratory stuff here for you guys.
We have drinks.
We do.
We have smokes.
We are full of libations.
Terpenes, vapes, you name it. We're gonna unleash some stuff on you today.
And actually, you can see it. What's that I'm
just
smelling?
barely, which is like what we've talked about.
It is. Today we decided that we would talk about olfaction.
Olfaction, which I literally never heard of until we learned about this.
Right. You all might know it as our third sense, the sense of smell. So today, today we have all of that. We've got limonene, we've got everything, right? And we are going to be making sense of sense.
I love that. Come here, you little fan of the booty.
It's your first time here with us. Thank you so much for popping in, and for everybody that always comes and shares in our journey and the journey we're trying to create for you in the Hemp Sisters community. We thank you.
Yes.
So if you haven't already shared us, liked us, please do.
Please do. Come hang out with us. Yeah. This is Itchy.
It's also his birthday.
It's also his birthday. He turned 10 today.
Oh, yeah.
And he is just as crazy today as he was 10 years ago.
Oh.
Say hi, baby. Hi, everybody.
And you know who else's birthday is a friend of ours. Dear Mark Vancouver.
My birthday twin.
Right? He's actually the producer of the Hemp Sisters Nation intro and extra song.
Yeah.
Gave us some of that Chicago vibe and
don't need no reservation.
Not at all.
Thank you, Marky. And if we're doing shout outs, let's just talk about Arisha.
Oh my goodness.
Arisha, Ari and Sadie, we were on their podcast yesterday, so you guys will be able to hear that on Monday. They are the creators of some of these products that we are about to be discussing, and really innovative because one of these products, patented, pending, doesn't exist on the planet, so that it makes us very exciting to talk about.
Yes, that's what I'm actually wearing in my nose right now. The Ning, with the tear thing.
There it is.
This is the Pain Ning, one of 16 or so functional terpene nasal septum rings. So we're going to get into why that works.
Yes. You know what? While we're doing that, let me bust out my Ning. I have chosen a cannabis Ning.
Yes.
So this is from the strain, can we see this? Trainwreck. So again, would have very different terpene profile than Lois's. This just rips right open.
Right.
Bam.
The Canna Nings are very unique in the sense that they obviously are terpenes from specific strains. So if you are...
I'm sorry. It literally smells like you're walking into a garden. If you've ever been in a cannabis garden, if you've ever been in a field that's flowering, this is instantaneously takes you to that incredible place.
Yeah, and being that strain specific, if you have certain strains that you use for certain terpene profiles, this is a really good way to, get it in there. And that's it.
And you just literally are just breathing. So here we go, Trainwreck Ning. This is a Canna Ning. So we have an entire line of cannabis enhanced Nings, as well as Lo said, an entire line of just
any other terpene you'll find in nature. That's correct. We're going to spend some time talking about why that works. So, got a lot of information to kind of throw in there. So
I'm sorry again.
yeah,
It's like I put in oxygen. Like it literally feels like I put in oxygen. It smells so good. And if you've ever walked into a cannabis or hemp garden, you know that. There's so much fresh air. Like it's forcing you to breathe heavenly goodness. It's instantly medicinal. You don't even realize it is, but your whole body's relaxed and all of a sudden you're feeling good, and it's literally making me happier, and I'm having an incredible day. Like
already an incredible day enhanced.
And now it's enhancing my incredible day.
Right. Well, I mean, our moods, they shift really fast, you know, from external elements and stuff. And again, if you are a person that is, not even if you're a person, I mean, nobody is there's not a person on the planet that doesn't know what like an essential oil is, you know what I mean? And those are the, you know, the end product of the building blocks are the terpenes, right? So it's, again, and you know how heavy that is in our culture as far as, you know, being more on the holistic end of things and utilizing plants from nature. And even some insects have terpenes, but another day. But yeah, we want to talk about, because there's several products that Arisha has developed and that have the backs of terpenes found, you know, in nature. So we've got the Smoking Hotties line, right?
Oh, you know, I actually brought a couple of those.
Yeah.
Okay, so Smoking Hotties are lip glosses. So they're lip gloss. Let me see if we can see here. Smoking Hotties.
Yeah, there you go.
This one is specifically for focus. So it's terpene enriched. And the terpenes in here.
Right. I'm in love with it. That's part of the holiday collection.
I mean, it's
so
beautiful.
good.
It's got this light sparkle, tiny bit of color. You can see it's very natural. So
right.
you can use it all day long. So you literally instantly helps you focus. It gets your mind sharp. It gets you ready.
Yeah.
The other one I have with, again, Smoking Hotties. It's a weird light here. There we go. And this one is Happy.
Yeah.
Okay, Happy. And this one, Lo's going to get a little more into, but this one actually has a... Even like layer, they look beautiful. Oh, I love them together.
Yeah,
like I
really
love
well
that. These two colors together are incredible.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah, my skin, everything. And it's got a nice light, like vanilla-y, like a vanilla smell.
Vanilla,
So the Happy is literally like as soon as you smell it, it's. I mean, if you've ever been in a kitchen or baked goods or a cake or pies or you know what I mean, it's that smell, and it's just instant. Good, like you feel good.
And we're going to tell you why that actually happens when you walk through the vanilla fields, you know what I mean?
We're going to delve all the way in.
We're going all the way in, some terms that are going to be kind of deep. And those particular items, they run complementary to the actual Septum ring. So the Happy blend, and the Septum ring is the same blend that would be in like the lip gloss and things like that. So
we'll make sure that we put some links in. You guys want to check them out, even if it's just for education. If you want to just read about these products, we would love for you to check them out. These products do not exist on the planet. We are the only company that has Smoking Hotties as well as the Ning, and those are terpene-based products. Yeah. We have a 40-year plus terpene god on our team. And, you know, Chuck Science, we've talked to him. You've heard his name a million times from us. And this is all his brilliance and this team that, you know, we've worked together, and they've already had incredible success with terpenes, you know, decades ago before anyone knew what a terpene was.
Right.
And so we're just kind of bringing it to the masses and educating on it.
Yeah, and most importantly, kind of trying to also assure people that the word terpene isn't exclusive to cannabis.
I'm glad you brought that up.
We know, I mean,
obviously... Even I didn't realize the extent of that. You know, you helped me a lot with that.
Obviously, we use that term a lot because that is one of the highlighting medicinal factors when you're choosing your cannabis, right? But... you know, 50,000 or so plus plants, you know, you can enjoy that with. So again,
and what do we have in cannabis? 100 or not?
Around 80 different.
80,
I mean, it just depends, right? So as people continue to evolve and you know play with genetics and stuff, who knows where that could go? But currently, you'll find that they all share. You know, there's nothing unique to that. It's just it's all shared, and different strains have different profiles. Just as your lavender has different profiles based on the species, etc. So,
and this Ning it'll last 4, 6, 8 hours.
Right.
I mean, you can take it out, put it back in the package, and keep it.
Package kind of recharges it because the oils that are left behind in the package, it'll actually continue to provide. So
your day starts. Maybe you're someone that deals with chronic pain. I'm someone that deals with chronic pain. You put your Ning in first thing. you're moving, your body's moving, you're feeling good. Maybe, lunchtime, take it out for a little bit, give it a break, and get it back in for that second half of the day. And now this one Ning that's dirt cheap. I mean, our Nings are rock bottom prices.
Right, a couple bucks.
Yeah, you can use now for an entire day to get you through work that, God forbid, you're on your feet or something, and your pain goes through the roof when you're working.
Right.
And this is something that can help you naturally, that you're not ingesting and you don't have to put on your body and you're not sure what it's going to do. Are you going to pass a drug test? Are you not? You know what I mean? It gets rid of all that confusion and fear.
Yeah, and you also get to wear a septum ring and be cool with
how
that
awesome
particular thing and not have to go through the pain of the piercing. So
I mean, I feel extra cute. I already felt pretty birthday cute.
You're really
today.
on birthday cute today. I mean, more than most days. It's fucking, it's the blue.
I'm feeling it. And I'm 48. The 4, the double 8, the 4, that's just numbers.
Oh, this is a numer day.
It's a big year for me.
Yeah,
big year.
this is. Well, thank you for everybody for being here for the start of it.
Yes.
Let's dive in, shall we? I'm gonna pull up some little notes actually because I don't want to lose track because
good call.
I for one am just.
We'll be gone. We'll be drinking martinis. And we'll be talking to you guys for
tangent.
4 hours. You're gonna be long gone. We'll still be babbling.
There's so much happening in the world that could easily distract this up and train.
Right.
Yeah, and literally train wreck the fuck out of this conversation.
So should we start with what is the Ning?
Yeah, I mean, right.
Real breakdown with
no,
Ning
right.
is.
And we had 4 or 5 questions come to the email just in the last 24 hours about it. So we'll use that as our kind of way.
Answer them all.
I guess the fastest way to explain how the Ning is and how smell works. I think we need to start where smell works because that's probably
it's a little more than just your nose.
That's the hocus pocus of the conversation, right? That's the hocus pocus of okay, whatever. We're going to show you talk about some science behind this to help you understand.
Hopefully that word has not been ruined for you.
We're already distracting.
There we go. Anyway.
The fastest way to explain how smell works and the fundamental mechanism of action when you use the Ning is really just to dive right into the parts of the bodies that odorant is actually detected and how it influences us.
Odorant. You know what's funny?
Yeah.
I don't hear that word much.
Yeah.
Which now is coming together with
deodorant.
You do not want to smell. You want to unsmell yourself. Okay, I'm sorry. Go on.
Or
very important
something
information
else
here.
in there.
Good point.
To replace.
Good point.
Oh, God, see, we're already in a hole.
Thank you, Martina.
All right, so Gina, take a deep breath through your nose. What do you smell in your environment?
I smell a cannabis field. It literally takes me back to Washington. You knew I grew. Reggie and I grew for almost 2 years, and it's literally like we walked into our garden.
Yes.
And we were getting ready to trim or to water just incredible, instant oxygen, feel good, just
the vibes.
Incredible, head to toe. And that's without smoking or drinking or vaping or none of it. You just are breathing.
Just the breath. That's because in a blink of an eye, how olfactory neurons in the upper part of your nose, they detect the odorant and they immediately generate an impulse that now journey to your brain along the olfactory nerve to its first stop, which is the olfactory bulb. This is where the impulse signal is then processed. It's kind of like the odor hub, if you will. And then it's sent off to the appropriate area, the closest area to it, that's going to receive that chemical message. The close area that we're talking about in question is actually known as the limbic system. And it's the area of the brain that was actually present in the very first mammals. And it's where our basic needs, drives, instincts, and our fears, that's where they all live and play in the limbic system.
So what more important area to clear out, to detox?
Well, to give it a task, a beneficial task. The limbic system is comprised of a set of structures within the brain that really play major roles in controlling our moods, our memory, our behavior, and our emotions.
Wow.
The sense of smell is our third sense, and it instantaneously triggers vivid recall of autobiographical memories. This effect is actually known as the Pross phenomenon. Phenomenon. Thank you.
Something
No,
like a
right.
phenomena.
We actually wrote about the Proust phenomenon in one of our LinkedIn articles.
Right.
Because what it comes down to is there's really no external stimulus that can boast such a claim against our sense of smell with regards to the vivid details and the powerful emotions and physical responses that odors trigger. Now
That's good and bad.
Right.
You wash past a garbage dump and oh my God, that's all still your sense of smell. That's affecting you.
Right.
That's
and you'll know about it. In Chicago off of 290, there is a landfill, right? It's a landfill just off of 290 when you exit Chicago.
We're pretty sure it's filled with dead bodies.
Well, absolutely. But I gotta tell you, anytime I smell a landfill, I visually have an image of that area in Maywood. And it's so strong. And again, that is there for other things. It's to protect us, to warn us of danger. We don't, and we're going to explain why, but we don't really understand the things that we're actually smelling, what they're actually doing to us in a
Right, who's ever
way.
put thought into that?
You don't.
Right.
You don't. It has to be pretty extreme, but there's other things at play here. So the limbic system is also where emotion and memory are managed. It plays a vital role in choosing and transmitting information between our long and short-term memories. This is kind of more of a easy to understand explanation of why a short-term experience, like smelling vanilla, can trigger a long-term memory and the corresponding emotions that you feel from that specific time. Like
there it is.
Like baking with grandma.
Yes, you literally I put on the Happy
Yeah.
lip gloss, and it's only a lip gloss, but it's right under your nose.
Right.
And my instant smell is that vanilla, which I already have a Canna Ning on and can still smell the vanilla. And all I'm thinking about is my mom baking Christmas cookies. Like, you know what I mean? That's instantly I'm brought back to my childhood and happy.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you feel good.
Right. When you feel that, how long you hold on to that thought, it could be a millisecond or it could be a day.
It could take you
depending
through
on
the day. It could literally take you through the day.
Could take you through the day. So the Ning, what we're wearing right now, obviously they're colorless. They're very flexible. They are
I'm glad you're showing it. Very flexible.
very flexible.
You don't feel it. You first put it in a little tingly because of the smell, like the terpenes.
No, right, the terpenes.
And then you do not know what it is.
Right.
Like you do not know it's in. I don't feel it at all now.
Once it's in there, it becomes part of your inner nose. Like it's very
100%.
soft and it doesn't have any irritating edges or seams within the design. So it's really just having
super flexible.
Super
like,
flexible.
Nothing hard or
It's also biocompatible and it's hypoallergenic. And obviously, as you saw, it looks like a little horseshoe. So it actually bends to adjust to different septum sizes. You don't feel it, as Gino was mentioning, and because it's colorless, people, unless you're really looking it up in your fudge, you're having a hard time noticing it. But again,
and we've even discussed making them colored for more like
Right, we do have some. If you go to Arisha's Instagram page, they were betaing a purple one.
Colors. Yeah. So that'll probably be
right, because some people may want that attention.
Yeah,
and we actually want you to be showing them off anyway.
Absolutely.
But they're infused with different blends of terpenes, and they're found with cannabis and all botanicals. So direct inhalation via the Ning, and this is its purpose. It's a far more direct and impactful delivery of terpenes than any other method. So smoking, vaping, incense, if you're using diffusers or misting, etc.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I literally use every single one of those, and nothing comes close to this. It's instant. You put it in, you instantly are.
Right.
And it's so intense, and it's deep, and it's not, like you said, your diffuser from across the room, where it's a nice light smell. But you're not getting that instant, entire body feels good.
Right. We're going to get a little bit to more of why the entrance point being here and the potency. And it really comes down to the formula. If you went home right now and put, a little tissue in your nose and threw some terpenes on it, you're not going to have that same effect. So it's the development of the product, the science behind it, and then understanding the parts of the brain and how to trigger these biological targets.
Right. I just took a vape hit.
Right.
Okay, this is a vape pen.
Right.
It's got a bunch of different cannabinoids,
Right.
CBG, CBD, CBT. It's got a bunch of different cannabinoids. But it's also enhanced with terpenes.
Right.
So as soon as I am inhaling it, I can smell them, I can taste them. Right. And it's awesome, but it's not immediate. It takes a few seconds. You got to get it in. You got to get that inhale, get that exhale, and then you start to slowly feel the effects. The Ning, you saw. I mean, as soon as I opened the package, it wasn't even near my body yet, and you're just in heaven.
Right. No, absolutely. And with a vape like this, there's other constituents in that. You know what I mean? So we know that every terpene has these flash points, and they have a they burn off and stuff. So
Another good example.
show them all, girl.
Smoking, and you're right. Like it's again, you're gonna feel good. You're gonna smell it. You're gonna taste it. But you just burnt the shit out of all the medicinal value.
Right. The purpose of heating THCA is to convert it into THC delta 9. That's what happens. Until you actually do that, you haven't done that. So that's the part that's going to make it psychoactive.
Now it's going to take a little bit.
Right.
It's going to then you'll get a little relaxing. You get that little nice feeling, but
you
it's
can
not
imagine.
immediate.
I mean, you can imagine like a stoners and you get a bag and you just put your nose into it. That's just you're grabbing the terpenes.
It's that experience.
Exactly.
It's way before you're lighting it on fire or vaping it or ingesting it or dabbing it or whatever your preferred method is. That first initial smell.
Right.
It's heavenly. Like it is heavenly.
Right. Exactly. They're that's their purpose, right? And that's their purpose in nature. We just need to learn how to take more advantage.
I mean, think about just we're in the middle of Wisconsin. Drive down any street and you're getting slapped in the face. Pine trees and lavender trees and
water,
chamomile water.
Lakes,
I mean, it's just all these scents are just hitting you, and you're home. Like you instantly remind you of home. You're not, that's your thought. Like it's really cool. So those scents take you to a place.
If you put 2 seconds into thinking what we're talking about, you're going to know exactly what we're talking about.
Absolutely. You're smelling something right now.
Yeah, pick a moment in time, and everybody has done that where they've that scent memory.
Well, I'm glad you brought up pine. Yeah. Like it's instantly Christmas. You know what I mean? As soon as you get that evergreen, like it could be a room spray or a candle, and you're like,
I mean, there's some people that never
Christmas Eve. You know what I mean?
Right. Some people have never even smelled that, like unless they've moved from another state, like Arizona and stuff. Like you really got to make effort for these things.
Right.
But again, I mean, what's happening on a scientific level is like when you talk about olfaction and scientific excitement, it really starts with a biological target. So briefly, a biological target is anything within a living organism to which some other entity like a drug or a signaling triggering molecule like odor is directed or binds to the target. So examples of biological targets are receptors and enzymes. So when a biological target is reached, it triggers a response in the organism. And then all responses either occur in the brain or they are processed through the brain.
And let's just talk about the power of enzymes for 1 second. I had a dog. I still have him. I have a dog. Not this one, but his brother. He's 9 years old and randomly starting having seizures last month in July. He had 4 in 1 month. We're out of our minds, scared to death, bringing him to vet, all these things. Okay, we start researching online natural remedies because that's what we do. We're not trying to give him any chemicals. Let's see what's going to work with his body. And the biggest thing was enzymes, antioxidants, enzymes.
Right.
So I find this company and we get him this enzyme supplement. He takes 2 a day and he has not had one issue. We're almost a month in. It's like 28 days since his last seizure. He's like a new dog. And this is...
No, and he had a late life onset of seizures. With no
so everyone was
no
scared. It was super scary.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's a new dog. He's a new dog from adding enzymes to his life.
No, and to your benefit, when we talk about using things, like Gina and I are not poo-poo medical people.
No,
you know what I mean.
No,
but
we will look at both sides.
We like to incorporate our life experiences and looking at both sides.
Yes,
like we know when to call 911. Guys, we're not keeping our kids in luck. You know what I mean? Like we know when there's things are out of our hands and we need control.
Right, but did my dog need pain meds when he wasn't in pain?
Right.
But they told me to give it to him for 21 days. Right. Like, no. You know what I mean? So that's when we have to decide what's best for us, our families, our pets, whatever. Use as much information as possible and make your decision.
Right. Big part of that was just shedding fear.
Right.
Because we feel like sometimes when we feel powerless when we give somebody else the power over decisions, it's off our chest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's because things are very scary sometimes. Sure. You know what I mean? But if you can build the courage to take some strength in that fundamental phases and stuff, like you really can dip your toe in something and you get better balance in your decision making. Or where were we? Oh yeah, so we were the enzymes, right? So the so again, biological targets, once they're reached, it triggers a response in the organism, and all of those processes again in the brain or processed through the brain for another organ or body system. Since the brain is a center of this kind of stimulation, it makes sense in geography that the fastest known way of reaching a biological target is through odor. And that is simply because the olfactory bulb is the functional part of the brain that is closest to the outside world.
That's so cool.
That's an evolutionary.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Like, that's
that's
cool.
That's evolutionary.
Our bodies are incredible.
Yeah.
Just let them work.
Right, it's evolutionary design, right, and has its own reasons. But there's 12 cranial nerves, and the olfactory nerve is the shortest. So therefore, it's also the fastest transmission channel, right? It's also only one of two nerves, the optic nerve, your sight being the other, that does not end in the brainstem.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, they're very intentional for very, again, evolutionary reasons. All of us. But anyway, the structural advantages, that can be easily understood if you look at any, diagram of the brain. But they come from a body of proven scientific knowledge, and that is the science of smell, which is also known as olfaction. And that particular field of study is interesting and mysterious.
Very.
As
well,
it
you
is
said
complex.
whoever thinks about that.
You don't.
You just smell. You smell all day long. You see all day long. You hear all day long. But you're not putting thought into those senses, what they're doing to our bodies, how we're reacting. There's no thought there.
Now, you literally have to go back to times where you can't actually remember, like after your birth, immediately after, and how scent, drove you to your mother's bosom. Like, you'd have to go back.
Wow.
You'd actually even have to go further back to, like, that sperm meeting the egg. I think we're going to talk about that here a little bit. But, so again, as animals, scent is our strongest. Is everything.
I mean, anything out in nature.
Yeah.
So cool.
Right. All right. So if we think about, like, the Ning and, let's talk about, like, calm. Right, so there's a calm Ning, right? So if we're looking at relaxation, we'll use it as an example. So if you look at like a PET scan or an fMRI and measure brain activity by detecting changes in blood flow, you can easily map areas of the brain that induce relaxation. Okay, so first you have to identify the biological target. So this would be certain centers of the parts of the brain. Most fundamentally, areas for relaxation are in the anterior ventral cingulate cortex and the prefrontal cortex. So when you trigger those specific brain areas, it leads to a release of calming signals, and then that'll be sent off to notify your other body to calm the fuck down.
Relax.
Right.
And that's literally your entire body. Your arms, your legs. You get tense.
Right.
You tense up, your shoulders
Remember,
lift
the
up.
odor is triggering the biological target.
All.
And this is the signal it's sending through your body to react, to calm, to whatever, however it's going to react. So when you take in consideration the fact that we've actually uncovered and we can identify biological targets for relaxation, we've done that through scientific technology, what you have to figure out next is how to activate that effectively and deliver relief for more comfortable living, right? So what is the odorant that is going to trigger that kind of response? Or other things. Traditionally, we look for other ways to relax, right? We've got meditation, exercise. We learn through psychologists how to manage and cope. Some of us turn to drugs and alcohol.
Sure.
And those particular avenues actually invite addiction and negative side effects. So lesser known practice, as we've been talking about, for improving your relaxation, it could be a reliance on terpenes and the olfaction science that comes with that.
Right.
Because all of them, at the end of the day, all of these things that you're doing are still trying to hit the same exact biological target.
Right. And why not try it for less than what your prescription would be with insurance? Like
literally
a couple bucks. I mean, there's no reason not to try that one time and see what it does for you.
100%. So now work is kind of interesting as far as finding, when it comes to odorants and stuff, these receptors, they are like keys.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's got to be the certain concentration, the certain combination for these types of things to unlock. So this is where the creators of the Ning actually had that kind of curiosity, about the olfactory system and how to, actually take what we know and apply it to something functional. So that goes all the way back to like 1998. And they analyzed and uncovered, and they started to match olfactory components with various different biological targets that they trigger, mostly in the brain, though. And in the case of relaxation, the studies that they were conducting, they found the exact aromatic triggers for biological targets that were associated with relaxation within the brain. And then they noticed that when the target was hit, it was stimulated. Impulses were sent out to those parts of the brain and the body that actually can bring about the peaceful feelings. And the feeling, sometimes even their studies was like elation, joy, bliss, and it was literally that simple.
We've put in the happy Ning and like started giggling.
Yeah.
Like literally giggling. Like we don't even know why we're so happy. We don't know why we're happy, but now like it's funny. Like it's really cool.
Right. We've given them to our kids. Like my daughter every time I open up a Ning, she's like,
the focus for homeschool, like absolutely.
One, she just like wants to put this thing in her nose, you know what I mean? Cool. But like she, like literally if I have it, she's like, can I wear your Ning? I'm like, no honey, it's been in my nose. Like I'll get you your own, you know? But like get your own Ning, girl. Right.
But that's how safe they are.
It is.
You know, our kids are 8. They just turned 8. They were definitely using them at 7 and at 6. Like the Ning's been around for 2 years. You know, like it's really cool.
It's really cool. When we talk about like relaxation, that's something that is at a very easy to access part of the brain, right? When we start to talk about deeper areas of the brain, further from the olfactory bulb, the requirements and hitting those, you know, they become to intensify, right? Like what that formula looks like. So when you look at like remote or hard to reach areas of the brain, like the ventral tegmental area, that's a reward center for like substances like nicotine. And scientific studies confirm that the biological target for nicotine involves both excitation, like making it exciting, your GABA and dopamine receptors in the VTA, and inhibition of glutamine receptors within the VTA. So it's a kind of like a double team approach, right? And again, it's a deeply recessed part of the brain, so it's more complicated than simply stimulating like a relaxation or happy response.
Right.
So the VTA actually can be reached with an aromatic trigger as well. So it doesn't mean it's not available to do that. But you have to have a stimulus device, right, to get it closer to the source. And you also have to have intensified power. So it's understandable, like if you're looking at relaxation versus like a remote cranial area, a weak room diffuser isn't going to cut it.
Well, let alone, you know? I mean, I can go back to 20 years ago, you know, I was having some issues and they were real quick to throw me on Xanax, throw me on Valium. Like, this will make you feel better. This is where you'll feel good. And not only is that insanely addictive, comes with a million side effects and takes 30, 45 minutes to kick in. Like, I didn't know this existed, or that would have never been an option in my life.
No, if you walked into a chiropractor's office, you'd probably have more of a conversation of the first thing, the relaxing thing, right? So, because again, you have to remember, a lot of us turn to more powerful things because we don't have certain basic level coping mechanisms, or we get burned out and we succumb to that. You know,
well, in our just everyday life, our insurance doesn't cover the chiropractor. It doesn't cover your massage therapist. It doesn't cover natural remedies.
No.
You know what I mean? Our insurance covers going to the doctor and getting prescriptions and having surgery. That's what our insurance covers.
And if you walked into your doctor, like, with a broken elbow and he said, hi, just put this in your face, you might question that. You know what I mean? But if you had a conversation with, like, I know I have to have medical intervention here, but I would like to not...
maybe your post-care is not opiates. You know?
I would like to get on a path where I don't have to go down this route. Again, like, it's your
path.
It's your autonomy, man. You know what I mean? So,
take control of it. I'm glad you said that. Like, you know what I mean?
Control of it.
And it's okay to go to your doctor. And it's okay to ask your doctor. And it's okay to research other options. And then you make the best choice for you. Take it all in and decide what's best for you.
And it's also really good not to put all your eggs in one basket in life.
No matter what basket that is.
You know what I mean?
Natural or unnatural. You know, Western medicine or holistic medicine. Like, look into it all and decide what's best for you.
Right. Okay, so we're talking about like nicotine reward centers. So the deeper areas of the brain, they're harder to hit. So again, we got to have intensified power. So when you're trying to excite, or if your biological targets in a remote part of the cranial area, these other things aren't going to be as effective. Now, when you throw a Ning in the face, you can actually deliver a powerful aromatic directly to the epithelial cells within the nose, and then into the nasopharynx, which is in the back of your throat. And that's actually where the base of the olfactory bulb is located. So, I guess the takeaway here is that it's actually, while it's possible to achieve relaxation with mild stimulus due to the proximity of the biological target you're trying to reach, the kind of stimulus that you need, it's much less force, but to trigger the far more remote areas of the brain for like where nicotine reward sits, it's much, much deeper in the brain. You need something a little more powerful and direct and formulated to have the right key to open that reception. So that's where the Ning really specializes with terpenes, right? So it's terpene groupings and terpenes, the combinations that, expand an understanding of the olfactory system and then basically revolutionize or change the way that we view our control over health.
That's the perfect word.
Yeah.
Like, that's the perfect word, revolutionize. Yeah. Like, this, it's maybe not for everybody, and you know what? Get one, bring it to your doctor. Yeah. You know what I mean? Can you imagine that conversation? Like, that's really cool to me. Opening up that window for just another conversation about something natural. Like, how awesome.
If you have any friends or family, I've probably in the last 10 years seen a lot more of it. You know, like was that Young Living and other types of essential oil companies that really pride themselves. The reason they pride themselves on their products is one, just because of the lengths they go to source these ingredients, right? To make sure that they are of quality to be able to reach a biological target and then further influence it in some way. Where the Ning is just so unique is just understanding the physiology behind of where these structures are in the body and what it actually takes.
Right.
So on one hand, it's like you feel like people have done this olfaction injustice by not, like, here, take this bottle of essential oils and drop on your chest and you've cured your, whatever. Without that understanding, you know what I'm saying? Like lavender, yes, lavender's relaxation, right? But if I'm trying to do something else, what is my path to that?
Right.
So yeah, as you know, like we've kind of been just kind of piggybacking in like, olfaction is complex.
Sure.
So the sense of smell is super complex. Oh my God. Hello. Let's just hit that martini. I'm getting tongue-tied today. I'm like so relaxed. Like my leg doesn't hurt anymore. Like I'm just really chilling.
No, I am too. It's incredible.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
So yeah, the sense of smell is highly complex, and we actually can demonstrate it for you in a couple of ways.
Yeah. Too many probably.
Too many probably, right? All right, so first, the blueprint of the human body is considered by all science to be the human genome. In the genome, the more genes that are associated with a function, the more complexity and the biological importance is of that function. Oof. Right? So you've got more genes to support the function. This is the theory of it. Number one, we have more genes that support our immune system. That's number one.
Crucial
number two,
information.
Yes. Number two on that list is actually your sense of smell. So it was really shocking to scientists back in 2000 when the results of that Human Genome Project came out, and where smell was actually even more important.
Like your immune system. Like that's really impressive.
Right. It was really more important than even reproduction on that list. So
well, there probably isn't reproduction without it. Anyway.
Anywho, right? And then we go. Are you in the hole with us?
Diving in.
They're important research that we have now. We understand why that is, though. In the case of reproduction, it was obviously important to us in the human species, right? Genetically. But we actually learned in that same project that sperm cells use smell to find the egg to begin the cycle of life.
Did you hear that, guys? One more time for the people in the back.
Right. In a much different way, in a chemical messaging way, right? Not like sperm have noses and that, but a chemical messaging way. And uncovering facts like that through the Genome Project.
We're not here without olfaction. I'm going to double down on it.
Nobody's
alive without it.
Without it.
That's how important it is.
Yes. Well, I'm going to sidetrack. There were certain things, because, I had that, I was in an infertility clinic forever.
Right.
And it was so interesting to see, and I didn't put it together until we started learning more about, olfaction. But there were certain things like during the process of artificial insemination, all those things, where they told you specifically to not wear certain scents. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to find this, because it was something with like, don't wear perfumes that had vanilla. They had, I'm going to find the article, because again, it just kind of came to me as I'm thinking about this, but there were certain things that they suggested to not wear. So this
super interesting.
Got to be part of that, that research. But again, so when you find out things like how smell, it really can kind of like drive home the reality that how important of a system it is within the body.
If not one of the most important, by far.
Right. Now let's talk about our other, our second sense. So that's eyesight. And that same study, the Human Genome Project was 10 years of study. Anyway, they found, that while we think vision is more complex, it's actually not more complex than smell. So if you thought that your eyesight was more complex as far as biologically, you'd be wrong. Vision's about perceiving colors, and all colors seen by the eye link back to 3 primary colors. The brain, however, can detect 10,000 distinct odors through the use of an extensive number of the body's most important receptor types. And our cannabis friends will understand the G protein coupled receptor.
Right.
So put simply, biologically, 10,000 is actually larger than 3.
Huh.
It's so crazy.
Mathematically as well.
Mathematically.
That's impressive. Like 10,000 compared to 3. Like, holy shit.
Right. Oh, there's so many studies too. People operating in the world without their sense of smell. Anyway.
If you have questions, please write in.
We're ready. So back to the G-coupled receptors, though. So staying with the highly critical G protein coupled receptor, although those receptors are scattered throughout the body, as you know, if you're following cannabinoids and cannabis therapies, they're associated with every bodily system. But there's actually evidence that 40% of those receptors are attached to smell. So again, all endocannabinoid receptors are G protein coupled receptors, or atypical of that. But the fourth is actually really interesting too, and it's an area studying the demonstrating the complexity of olfaction and the existence of neurogenesis in the adult brain. So the processes through which new neurons are produced and integrated throughout the course of life, right? So for the most part, the brain is incapable of making new. Why can't I keep focusing on this? Sorry, I have a question in your hand. All right, so we'll stop there, cut that. All right, so a fourth really interesting area of study in demonstrating the complexity of olfaction involves the existence of neurogenesis in the adult brain, the process through which new neurons are produced and integrated throughout our course of life. For the most part, the brain's incapable of making new neurons in adulthood. In fact, neurogenesis only happens in 2 very important areas of the brain in adult life. And that first, it occurs in the hippocampus, where new neurons are formed and integrated in creating memory.
Wow.
Which we actually kind of touched on. Memory is such a dynamically and complex process.
Makes it make sense.
Makes it make sense.
Yeah.
Making sense of sense.
I get it.
The second area is actually the olfactory bulb. So if that doesn't surprise you, it should. But don't feel bad, because the world's top neuroscientists still don't understand why.
Shocking.
Right. But there's a very recent study that kind of set wildfire through this community. And it was it the... Oh, yeah. It was 2015, The Frontiers of Neuroanatomy, which is a scientific journal.
Right.
And it's showing that depressed and suicidal adults have virtually no neurogenesis in the olfactory bulb as compared to normal healthy adults.
Oh, wow.
So, right. So the speculation was that olfaction may play a prominent role in preserving mental health in life itself. We'll cite the article in there too. It's a good one.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Like, and all, like, it's like the bottom line is that scent and smell holds an important role in your body.
Yeah, one of the most important
Yeah.
roles. Like, you wouldn't be here without it. That's
Right.
incredible.
I mean, it's like it holds the most important role of the body. Just like this wall here behind us is like the blueprint of your home, right?
No, true.
So I guess what we've discovered through like the Ning is like if we wanted to perform optimally and live epically.
Right. Well said.
We have to
I
harness.
want to live epically.
I want to live epically. But you have to kind of harness the powers that your body is holding, right?
Right.
And that's kind of the first key to changing your life. So,
Well said.
you know, I know it's a lot of science to take in and such, but you can actually, we've got a couple places throughout our website where we talk about olfaction, more of the functions of each Ning that are currently offered, minus the cannabis Nings. But for that, you can go to Risha Land.
Yeah, we'll make sure we put all that in there
Yeah.
because we want you guys to experience whatever you want to experience. So whether you want to try just a pain or a happy
Right.
or a focus, or you want something specific for you, or you want to try some of these cannabis scents because they're incredible, guys. And again, if you're not a cannabis person but are curious, what a great way to start. You're not smoking cannabis. You're not ingesting cannabis.
Right.
You're not taking something that you're afraid you might not pass a drug test. Like, all the fear is gone.
Yeah.
You're literally breathing. You know what I mean? So if you're not afraid to breathe, we've got you covered. And
I'd like you to
give it a
change
try.
our minds.
Right.
That you're afraid to
Are
breathe.
you currently breathing? We can help you breathe better.
Yeah. And it's a great way to take on some of the therapeutic events. And as you've just learned, that's because of the biological targets these terpenes are compounded to hit.
Right.
So, I mean, from no smoke, we have a no smoke terpene enhanced ring to
Zapatite. Do you want to just, you know what I mean,
controlling
not
appetite.
eat in between meals? Because that's big for me. Like, I used to be a huge snacker.
You're a snacker.
Yeah, and so, you know what I mean, now I'm trying to make a more conscious effort this year specifically to not eat in between meals. So, you know, between specifically lunch and dinner. Breakfast and
Right.
lunch not too far apart, but lunch and
Right.
dinner, there's a nice span there. So,
Right.
you know, you start getting a little hungry, pop in that Zapatite Ning,
Yeah.
few hours, 2-3 hours, put it back in its package, use it again the next day. And again, you know, $1, $2, you got 2 days worth
have
of
2 days worth of it.
controlling your appetite. And you decide that's what you want. We have the multi-use pack. So now you got a little refill. So instead of buying one a day or one every other day, you know, have one for the month. You know, so we have what you need. We just need your open mind. That's what we need.
And I'm going to go rogue here and ask you that if you could actually comment and share our olfaction video, we're
love that.
going to go ahead and send a
We'll send you a
variety
link.
pack to you.
Yeah.
So we've got, you know, so do that. Like it, share it, take some knowledge, spread it forward, and we'll keep an eye on what you're doing here and how you're sharing it.
Yeah.
And comment that you have, and we will gift you.
We will hook you
We'll
up.
send you the gift of olfaction.
The gift of scent.
Changing your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Girl, so you had an amazing birthday, yes?
Did, yes. It's been an incredible day. And we got to share it with all of our friends.
We had an
all
amazing
around the
weekend
world.
with you. We had we do this
did.
every year. It's like a week
Yeah.
event, you know. But we had an amazing weekend with our 8-year-old teenagers.
Yes, we did. They are grown. They're all grown at 8. But we went to the Dells. We had some beach time, some pool time, some us time. And
Why is this important, Gina?
because that's how you get through life, guys.
Yeah.
That's how you get through life. You gotta work hard. You gotta put your nose to the grind every day, and you gotta do your thing. But it is crucial to relax and enjoy yourself and have fun with the people you love and embrace that, because we don't ever know how much time we have. We don't know. It doesn't matter what age you are. We do not know what's to come. So enjoy every day. Be grateful for every day. We're blessed. We know you're blessed. You might not see it or feel it right now, but you are. You're here with us. You're blessed.
Yeah.
So let's focus on that. Let's stay positive. Right?
Yeah, and thank you for being part of our community.
Yes. Thank you for watching us, whether you're watching or listening. We greatly appreciate you.
We do.
We are here for you. Again, any questions, any comments, we're here. Reach out anytime. YouTube, website, LinkedIn, wherever you see us.
Patreon.
Coming soon, Patreon in September.
Yes.
We will have subscription options for not only to support us, but to feed some starving children, because they are our future, guys. Without them, there is no us. Ta-da.
Ta fucking da.
I love us. Okay, have a beautiful evening.
Enjoy the outro by the other birthday boy, Mark.
Salud. Mark, we hope you are having a martini.
Now
Have
get
a
on that,
blessed
brother.
day.
Thank you.
Good job, baby. Welcome to the nation. I said, welcome